From Viking invasions to Roman occupation, from countryside to coast, from historic wars between the English and the Scots to modern warfare, from a Scottish queen to a gypsy queen, from an artist from Manchester who regularly painted here to a local heroine who became a national icon, to boots discarded from weary walkers, from churches and abbeys to the ruins of priories, and stunning scenery on the way. Join us over the next few weeks as we follow the route of the stunning Northumberland 250. A fully loaded fridge can only mean one thing. We're going off on a longer trip.
Not sure what this is, but obviously marks the border. County Durham that way. You've seen Northumberland and our road trip that way.
Good boy. There's just no need for it all the time. First stop though is a coffee.
Got to be, hasn't it?
And something to eat. Before we get into the trip proper, but we're not going to start every day with a bacon butty, are we?
Why not? Why not?
Because we've got a budget of 25 quid a day.
We'll see. We are on holiday.
Did you manage to pay cash?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Not a bad place to start the route.
The Hemel Cafe. Very nice.
A Hemel. Cattle from Allenheads farm were fed and milked in this Hemel, so I've never heard Hemel before.
No. I'll probably see a local term for a shipping, or
yeah. This is Allenheads, and this is where we're starting our route. You can start it from anywhere, but it suits us better because we can go right round, can't we?
It's at the bottom tip of the route, so we're coming up from the north, from the south, hit it, and then we'll go round.
Oh. Former garage and post office. 17th century inn, but became a coach house for the newly built Allenheads Hotel. There's a craft shop in that cafe as well.
Have you seen this?
This is part of the pit.
It's the Armstrong engine.
Which was it for pit, for mining?
I'm trying to read. Doesn't really say there. Perhaps it says on this one. Water-powered engine. It's the only one left in existence. Basically, I think it uses water power to drive it to hydraulic engine. I don't know. Presumably something to do with the pits, but I can't work out what it was for.
There are 2 water-powered engines in this building. The huge yellow wheels are part of the grandly named W.G. Armstrong twin-cylinder double-acting hydraulic engine. And the smaller engine,
This one down here.
there, is the... Oh, I've not got my glasses on. Gilsey's impulsive turbine. Gilks. Impulsive turbine. I wonder why it was impulsive. I've been told I'm impulsive occasionally.
As I say, this one is believed to be the only Armstrong engine of its type in existence.
It was built in 1846, one of 9 ordered by his friend Thomas Sopwith, the mine agent at Allenheads. In July 1986, the engine was purchased by Allenheads at auction by keenly side builders merchants of Bedlington to ensure that this important piece of Allenhead's history and heritage was not lost to the village. And the engine was restored to full working order by British Steel apprentices on Teesside. There's an information board outside where we've just been. It says Allenheads was once an important part of Britain's lead mining industry, and at its peak hundreds of people lived and worked here. What have you found?
Well, it's the iron well. It's a spring fed from water from the moors, but it passes through iron rich rocks, so hence the reason it's coloured, or it's staying in the brickwork.
Do you want a drink? Do you want a drink, Bay? Do you want a drink?
I don't think they do. Because unlike Bay, she normally drinks anything.
Yeah, should try and drink it dry. It says in the late 1940s, mothers with babies were advised to drink a glass a day in the mistaken belief that they would benefit from the iron.
And just a little bit further up the road, Gin Hill, I assume that's Gin Hill, but Gin Hill mine shaft. It drops 77.5 fathoms. Now that's an old measurement.
It is, isn't it? In that foreign stuff, 130 metres.
And how many feet in a fathom?
I have no idea.
Is it 6 or 8?
I don't know, but it says that miners originally climbed down it using ladders to reach the passages that led to the veins of lead or deep underground. By the 1860s, the miners travelled to the lower levels in 3-man cages.
These were lifted back by a water-powered hydraulic winch. I wonder if that's the same winch that we've seen down there.
Oh, it could have been.
This shaft was to have marked the end of the Blackett level or tunnel that started lower down in the valley to take water out of these mine workings. After many years of work, it was abandoned before it reached Allenhead. So fancy being lowered into the abyss as you went down there.
It's dark down there, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Well, we're at that time of year where the leaves are dropping, so you're going to get a lot of crunching from us. As we said earlier, it's a former lead mining village. The mine closed in the 19th century, in 1896 in fact. And the local economy here is now dependent on agriculture and tourism. In October 2017, the North Pennines Observatory opened in the old schoolhouse. Now there's no signs, but I'm not sure whether that's it or not, because that looks like an old schoolhouse.
But it doesn't look like an observatory.
No. And here's another bit of the mining history.
This is a spiral incline down which the ponies were led to work on the levels nearly 100 metres underground.
They had a hard life, pit ponies,
They
didn't
did. The ponies hauled tubs of bows or bouse, or rich minerals and dead waste rock to be winched up the Gin Hill mine shaft and out of the mine.
Don't think they're pit dogs.
No. You won't fancy it. Come here. Don't pull. Imagine the horses that have plodded up and down these cobblestones over the years. It's a pity you can't go in to see the spiral.
It is, isn't it?
You see it's just about starting to bend round, can't you?
Mm-hmm. And it's slippy as well, isn't it? Can you imagine the pony sliding down here as well and slipping?
Yep.
So that's Allenheads. Lovely little village.
The building over the road from this mine entrance was the mine office. So this is we're not at the schoolhouse
yet. It's not a schoolhouse, no.
That's why it doesn't look like an observatory.
It says from its windows, Thomas Sopwith, the mine agent, kept a watchful eye on the timekeeping of his workforce and the children going to school.
I wonder if he's the same Sopwith. Oh no, that's Sopworth, isn't it?
I don't know.
Sopwith camel?
It was Sopwith, yeah. Oh. I was wondering that. I was going to say to you. Because it's not a surname you hear very often, is it?
He obviously had money, so he might have gone into other adventures.
Yep.
So for a little village, it's got an awful lot of things to see, isn't it?
A lot of history, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of villages have got history, but it's a tiny village, really, isn't it?
It is.
And one thing we've already noticed just from driving around when we've been looking for things is how many public toilets there are. And this is just the start. Back at where we parked now, with a cafe just over the other side of the van. This is the Allenheads Inn.
We've seen quite a few little mine trucks, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah. sort of the homage to the area's history.
And it's an old inn, built in 1770. It's even got the village stocks.
I don't think they're the originals though.
I doubt it very much. Time to move on.
Yep.
So as we follow the 250-mile route round Northumberland 250, as we're driving along and we see things that we think might be interesting to look at, we'll pull in, have a look, and we saw this
Grove Rake Mine. It's a lead mine from the 17th century until nearly the end of the 19th century. It was reopened in the 20th century for fluorspar.
Fluorspar had become valuable in the steel and chemical industries. It was the last large-scale mine in Weardale.
Weardale, isn't it?
And it closed in 1999. And this illustration shows what the mine looked like in the 80s, when the British Steel Corporation brought the steel headgear you can see here from a coal mine. We're actually in County Durham now. We've just come over the border, haven't we?
Again.
So this is the last surviving example in County Durham. Many local people are proud of the headgear as a symbol of their mining heritage, forming the Friends of Grove Lake, who saved it from the threat of demolition. Just over the road from the sign, there are all these tumps or hillocks, whatever you want to call them, and we're just saying they must be spoil heaps because they don't look natural, do they?
We've said that on this trip we're going to try and use cash as much as we can, because cash is king, and if you don't use it, we will lose it. But an example, a £20 note in my hand, I pay for a coffee, or we pay for a coffee or breakfast or whatever, and pass over the £20 note. The shopkeeper has a £20 note, still valued at £20. They buy their stock with £20. The wholesaler has a £20 note, still valued at £20. If we go the other way and pay by card or cashless, that £20, bank takes a commission when you do the swipe or whatever, the transaction. So that £20 automatically loses 1%, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the cafe owner has £19, say. I'm not doing the maths in my head. They pay the wholesaler, so that £19 becomes £18 when there's another transaction percentage taken out. So at each stage, the value of that original £20 is being lost. Whereas paying cash, that note still is worth £20. So we're going to try this as much as possible on this trip to pay with cash. Use it or lose it. Cash is king.
And Keith did pull a face at me earlier when I did say that we're going to try to limit ourselves to spending no more than £25 a day. So at the end of each video in this series, we'll try and say how much we've spent. That does exclude if we have to, well, we will have to put fuel in at some point. It does exclude that, because that'll be quite a lot. Because what did we put in just before we set off? We filled it up and nearly empty, £120, was it?
Something like that, yeah.
Like that, wasn't it? So yeah, we'll exclude fuel from that. Anyway, that's us rambling on. we're heading to the next place now, which has got quite a fascinating history about it. And again, as we're driving along, we've seen something of interest, and there is an information board about it. The Rookhope Arch. And the arch in front was part of the Rookhope lead smelting mill, where lead mill was extracted for ore mined in the area. It was one of a line of arches that carried a flue across the valley that took the lead fumes away up to the hillside. The very long sloping flue allowed the fumes to cool, and lead particles could be recovered from the inside. And the Rookhope flue was completed in 1810 and was 1.5 miles long, with a wooden chimney at the end, where the escaping gases were now quite cool even. A new mill was built here in 1735 by the W.B. Lead business, replacing an earlier one nearby. By the late 19th century, it had expanded and changed to what we see in this illustration. The roasting house prepared the ores for smelting. They then went to the smelting house, which is pictured here. Peat was cut from the surrounding fells, dried and used for fuel in the ore hearths. And the smelted lead was cast into bars known as pigs. I've heard of pig iron.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
Yeah.
Yeah. And stored in the lead yard. It was originally taken over the moors to Newcastle on strings of pack ponies. And the once busy mill closed in 1919, although lead mining continued at Rookhope into the early 1930s. By the end of this series of videos, I might be able to read something without getting the words wrong. Join us again next time and see what we discover as we continue the route on the Northumberland 250.